All right, September 2022, and chimney season down here in the Texas area has begun officially. The phone's starting to ring, and we're running across right now. We've got a prefab fireplace similar to the video that I did a week ago. We have Chasetops, storm collar, chimney cap, spark arrestor, animal guard, flue liner, animal guard. I don't know if you can see the screening underneath here that I'm touching. Hey, basically all the component, Chasetops, in case I didn't mention, drip edge and Chasetops, hardy siding, all the components of a prefab unit. You can see inside here the flue, the actual flue coming up. It's a smaller pipe. It looks like this one's an 8-inch diameter flue pipe coming up through. The flue liner, which is galvanized pipe, is probably, I'm guesstimating, 11 inches. Yeah, 11 inches, maybe 12 inches. Very common down here. These things go up all the time. There's one company that has a monopoly on distribution of these units, and they work with the builders, and they just, when a new subdivision is being built, they go out with the multiple trailer trucks and just with the units, kind of like erector kits, and just once the framing is already done with the house, they just install the units. It's pretty interesting, but that's what we have. This house here, this is probably the original caulking on the storm collar and the Chasetops. As you can see, it's starting to crack up. I came out for an inspection about 2 weeks ago, approximately. I told the customer, informed them about this, and I actually said on this one, they probably had a little bit of time to deal with it. It wasn't like a dire emergency, but I just emphasized it was something that they needed to be aware of, and be aware that they were to have to get taken care of at some point in time, probably within the year or whatnot, and they just wanted to go ahead and get it knocked out now versus later. So that's why I'm here today. We're gonna go ahead and take care of this today. This is video one on this. We'll move on, and we'll be back in a minute once we get a little bit further into it. So when you're doing this removal of this old caulk, look at this. You see how it's just coming right up? Some of the tools you're using, putty knives, sometimes a razor knife, razor blade scrapers. I mean, even bigger scrapers. I mean, the tools of this are basically, you just want something to get in there and be able to scrape off the old caulk. Now, ideally, if you want to save your hands, you want, and I've already scraped off all the caulking that bonds or that seals the storm collar to the flue liner. You generally want to take off the storm collar before you start doing this. And the reason why, when you start scraping this with your scraper and you get a piece and all of a sudden you got some resistance and then it gives and your hands go, your fingers hit the bottom of this piece of sheet metal. And a lot of times this is like razor blades, and so when it gives, it's very common that if I'm getting lazy and I'm leaving this on here, I'll have cuts on my fingers from jabbing against this bottom edge of this storm collar. And I tell you, that typically when you get cuts on your fingers like that, when you're up here, it's blood all over the place because your fingers like to bleed. Not that severely painful, but you certainly are aware of it. So generally, if you want to do this and you're trying to do this and save some money yourself, you want to take the storm collar off. There's a couple 5/16 screws holding this together on the other side. It's not a big to do. I've done this so many times, I'm just not taking it off. But for your information, that's what you would do. We'll go ahead and move on a little bit further here to kind of see what I'm talking about. I don't know if you can see how I'm scraping this off. We're just clearing off the edge here, and then I'll collect all this old caulking. It's coming off really well, so that's kind of indicative of why it's not making a potential seal and it's cracking up. It's just this is probably original caulk, and it's outlived its time. It's probably close to 20 years old also. All right, I've scraped off the neck of the Chasetops. I went over it a couple times, trying to get any loose particulate off, and also the storm collar. So we're ready to go ahead and reseal this up. You're never going to get it 100%, but you want to get it as close to metal where it's going to bond as you can. Just for adherence. You want dry surfaces too. If it's wet or if it's rained, you want to not do it while you still got little droplets of water. That affects bonding. So we've had clear weather here. So we're ready to go on this. I'm going to bring up some caulking in a second, and we'll go on to the next step of the finishing step. So we'll go ahead and reseal both the neck of the chase top and the storm collar. This one here, compared to the last job I had, I don't know if they soldered it or not. I believe they did, because I'm not seeing any gaps. This looks like a better, whoever, the sheet metal shop that did this did a better job than the last one I did. I'm not seeing any gaps in between where the flat portion meets the neck of the chase top. So this one looks pretty good. All right, I'm back at the truck. If you see this cup here, that's all the, not all, but that's all that I collected of the old caulking that I was able to accumulate. I blew off the rest, brushed off the rest onto the roof, but I tried to get most of the bigger pieces, retain those so I can throw those in the trash and not kind of trash up the roof line and the gutters. So that's what came off. As you can see, pretty big pieces came off in chunks. This is the particular caulking that I use, the sealant that I use. It's a Home Depot brand. I think it's like 8. Well, I haven't bought any in the last month or so. So when I was buying it, it was in the $8 range per tube. I've had pretty good success with this. Multiple colors. Today we'll be using a light gray. Typically for a job like this, you're looking at maybe 1 tube. Sometimes a little less, sometimes a little bit more. But on something like this, 1 tube's kind of rule of thumb. If you are doing the project, you probably want to buy 2 just in case, because you don't want to start and not be able to finish while you're there. Just something as simple as a caulk gun. This particular caulk gun has a cutter on it. It also has the little punch for punching out the initial hole. So basically the equipment's pretty simple, pretty easy to use, and this is what I use for these type of jobs. So now we're going back up on the roof. We'll go ahead and apply the product and hopefully get out of here. All right, as you can see, we went ahead and caulked everything. Caulked the storm collar, caulked the neck of the chase top, and we should be done. Anyways, some point in time, next time they get do any painting or have any painting done, then they can paint the lid of the chimney cap, which would be a good idea. And they can paint over this caulking too, and repaint the chase top too with some type of mold resistant paint. And we are bueno, we are finito, and please like, subscribe. It would greatly help my channel. Thank you very much.